Okay. I'm gonna nod at you.
Jolene, 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 begging of you, please don't take my money. Jolene, 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 please don't take him just because you can. Jolene, Jolene. All right, so we just got home from the Tedeschi Truck Show last night with my two friends, Jim and Chuck. And yeah, they won't be getting up till noon probably for various reasons. My friend Jim has cows, and so he had one of them kind of taken care of, if you know what I mean. And he brought me some bones so we could make a demi-glace, and I know that he wanted to be involved, but you know, he's going to be asleep, and this takes a little while, so we're going to make a video, and that's what this is. So, what's a demi-glace? In French cooking, there's, I think, 7 sauces, you know, hollandaise and bechamel and these other classic sauces. Kind of the king and the finest is the demi-glace, and the king and finest and one step up from that would be a glacé, okay? And what we're talking about here is kind of the base. You get your flavorings in the saute pan, and then you hit it with the demi-glace, which reduces down, creating a nice thick sauce full of flavors. So that's what we're going to make today. And I'd like to introduce you first to the ingredients, or the actors, or the stars, as you will. First of all is the absolute star of the show. This came from Jim's very own stock. These are these happen to be beef marrow bones, which are a really good type of bone to use. And what we really end up getting is we get the soft collagen and connective tissue and so forth from the insides of the bones, and in this case this is marrow. And really the absolute best, most wicked bone to use for stock is a veal knuckle bone. Veal because it's young and tender, and the knuckles have tons of connective tissue, which is great for the body of the glacé in the end, or demi-glace. So we've got about, we're looking at about 2 pounds. And on here, we're going to re-zero this. Okay, now. So we got about 2 pounds, 6 ounces worth of bones. And I'm not going to measure out the carrots and all that kind of stuff, but you'll kind of see how much to use for that amount of bones. So here's our actors. There's the star, beef marrow bones. Probably shouldn't have put those on the table. Carrots. We're going to peel those because the skins tend to make bitterness if you don't take them off. Celery. You either use garlic or you don't. And we're going to just use a little bit, maybe 1 clove, okay? Onions. And the 3 of these are kind of the holy trinity: onions, celery, and carrots. It's called mirepoix of French cooking when you're dealing with sauces. And the goal is to remove all the marrow and to bring that into the body of the sauce and cook that down. So we need some acids in this system, and we're going to have 2. The acid helps to break that down, and we're going to have tomato paste as one, certainly acidic, and we're also going to have some red wine, also acidic. So here you have your body components, also a flavor component. you have your mirepoix, primarily flavor component. You have your bay leaf, huge, immense flavor component, as well as your thyme, also flavor component. And my one item here, which was right here, but the director didn't like the way it looked, so he threw them away, are the 3 peppercorns that I'll be putting in to the sauce as well. Yeah, I'm looking at the cameraman right now for throwing away my peppercorns. But I had more, so I didn't say anything. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that. Now, the first process is that we're going to combine the stuff all together, we'll get it all mooshed up, and then we're going to roast it. And the purpose of the roasting is for color. We're going to bring everything down, and it also helps to break down the bones as well. And then we're going to roast our bones and all the stuff together. And then after the bones are roasted, we're going to put that in water in our pot here and cook it down. And we're just going to continue to add water, and it's going to take a long time. Usually, sometimes we might cook this for 24 hours. Adding water and giving us an opportunity to break down all the marrow in the bones and get the body out of it. Then we'll strain that and reduce again. So here we go. All right, this is how you process an onion. One side, kind of break the skin on it and peel off any of the papery stuff. And actually, people have different ideas about it. We can probably put the ends and all the other stuff in there directly into the pot. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the pot that I'm cooking in. I'm going to use it to get the tomato paste completely on everything. And we're going to be cooking this long enough that we don't want little pieces. We don't want to dice. We don't want to slice. We just want big chunks. So chunk it up. We're going to go with a couple onions. I'm a big onion fan. Another thing about cooking that's so important is that in general, you want to clean up as you go as best as you can. The number one reason why folks don't cook for themselves is that they get done, they're all tired, they eaten, they want to take a nap, and then they got this big mess to clean up. So don't have a big mess to clean up at the end. You know what I'm saying? Get your stuff together. Number one thing before you cook, clean the kitchen. Number two, if there's any clean dishes in the dishwasher, then get those out of there, okay? And then clean up as you go. And then when you're done, you'll have a pot to clean up, right? Everything will be clean, life will be good. I always like take the holy crap, where's the peeler? No, I haven't emptied this. So it's not it. Oh, there we go.
Guess someone didn't do their own.
It sounds like some chores were not done. And you know that I only wash that off for the video because normally I'd just go at it. But, man, nobody died from a little schmutz on a peeler. All right, here you go. So we're gonna peel it. This is a speed peeler. More people, more professional cooks in professional kitchens cut and injured with a peeler than any other piece of equipment. So pay attention. Show last night was tremendous. If you've never seen Tedeschi trucks, I would call it a must-see. And really, you know, I got turned on to them because Derek, of course, is a former member of the Allman Brothers. And, but you know what, anymore? I go to see Susan. She is the best singer. You know, the soul that she puts into it is incredible. You know, it's like, it's effortless. I play as well as you obviously have seen, and man, I gotta kind of work at it, but she does not. Well, actually, it looks like she doesn't. I'm sure she works very hard to be and sound like the player that she is. So here we have carrot down. Yep, right off the ground. There you go.
So you're that guy.
Let's see what we got. Oh man, that's not nearly enough carrots. We're going bag down. We're going all bag.
You may want to get that one right there.
What?
This one. It looks a little big.
Yeah. Just, you know. Yeah. Right. The whole point. Yeah. Holy crap, we lost another. All right, moving on to the celery. Normally you don't use the leaves and stuff on this, but this is great stuff here. I like this a lot. I guess since I have a knife, I'll just use it. Yep. Again, this is not your PC cooking. One of the things you notice I did is I put raw meat bones on a cutting board, and then I put a bunch of vegetables on it. In this case, probably doesn't matter because
Cooking it.
I'm going to cook the hell out of it. But in general, it's called cross-contamination. You can get people sick that way, so you kind of want to minimize your doing that, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. Bonage. Again, these would be fresh bones from my friend in Missouri, the Jim Harper bone specialist. Awesome. But like I said, depending on what you're trying to do with your garlic can be pretty strong, so you kind of want to, decide whether you want to have some or not. And I think we're gonna cook this so long that, and we're gonna reduce it down so whatever flavors are in there, we're gonna concentrate them. So. You gotta be careful with how much you put of stuff that you put in there. So like, if you put a bunch of peppercorns in it, it'll be flat out hot. most of the time that will overtake, that hot flavor would overtake any of the other stuff that you really want. So you don't normally do that. Okay, so now I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna just leave those out. All right, so let's tomato paste up. And you gotta be kind of careful here, because if you put too much in, then you end up with a red sauce, don't you? And we're not looking for a red sauce, we're looking for a brown sauce. So, like I said, you want enough in there that the acid will be present to break down the bones, but you don't want so much that you change it from a red sauce, from a brown sauce to a red sauce. Also in cooking, you can always add more, but you can never take it out. Go! Celery down.
Definitely a lot of stuff in this kitchen.
Yeah, man. This is like what it's all about. Oh, another thing too, you gotta plan ahead. Okay, so always in cooking, if you're gonna cook something in the oven, then the first thing you do is you turn it on so that you're not standing there waiting, because sometimes some stuff's time sensitive, you know. You only, like, for instance, if you're doing a souffle, it rises through egg whites, they don't last that long. So you get your souffle base all together, you lay in your whites, get them all whipped up, get it all mixed up, ready to go, and your oven's not on, the sucker falls before it even gets in. So give yourself a chance. Preparation. That came from my sous chef at Commander's, Jim Dugan. He let me go down like a fiery ball of flesh and metal once on purpose when I started on the hot app station to drive that point across. He was so good that he knew he could dig me out no matter what happened. Great guy. And friends, I think that's it. That looks good. Okay, one thing you never want to really put into the beginning of your demi is salt, because we're starting with a very large volume. You put some salt in there. By the time we get down to the reduction, you end up with a salty demi, which is unfixable. Normally I'd put parchment paper down anytime I'm doing something.
Oh, onion down.
Onion down. Good man. Threw it away.
Didn't mean to throw away your peppercorn.
All right.
That smells so good, like the tomato paste.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things that smells good at all stages. All right, we are ready for the roastage. Now, normally, I was saying before, normally I put parchment paper down. In this case, we're going to actually deglaze this all when the pan is really hot and all this stuff is roasty, toasty, brown, and moasty. we are going to, I'm just going to kind of sprinkle some white wine over the top of it and bring up all the brownness off of the pan, which is going to lend to our color, our flavor. It's going to add some sweetness to it. So it's a, you know, so we don't want parchment paper to have to deal with that. All right. So this is kind of stage one done.
Okay, it's paused.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay, so now do we just wait?
Yeah, we gotta wait. We can do some. Do you know what B-roll is?
No.
Like in filmmaking, B-roll.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so.
Not yet, not yet. And now go.
All right, so now we've roasted the bones and they're all ready to rumble. We've got a nice pan of finished stuff. This was about, I would say, an hour and a half. Played like an hour and a half at 350, and then I put it at 300, and then went and did something and came back in a half hour. So it's probably 2 hours of cook time, and then the last half hour was was at like 300. Pardon me. All right, so we're gonna load this up in.
Kind of off of this side of the image.
Oh yeah,
Should I turn that a little bit?
you could. Very nice. All right. Okay, there's a lot of good flavor right there, so we're going to heat this up a little bit and deglaze it with red wine, which will also get that acid into our mix. Red wine, baby. Hands are wet. You may not be able to get it off you. Nice. So how was your ride from Missouri, Jim?
Long.
Excellent.
Most excellent.
Oh yeah. Charles. And how was your 6-hour odyssey at LaGuardia?
I think Jim less time to get here driving from the
3 plane changes.
very
Charles
third time was the charm.
broke 2 of them. That's all.
Broke. Chuck started at LaGuardia at, when was your flight supposed to take off?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock in the morning.
No, p.m.
8 o'clock p.m. And
Got on the plane.
got on 3 planes.
Got on the plane. Maintenance issue. Get off the plane. It's okay. We got another plane. We got on that plane. That one actually left the gate. We taxied a bit. Then the captain came on and said, "You're not gonna believe this, but Oh, we have another maintenance issue. Some sorted saga.
So man, you should like just smell. Too bad it's not a scratch and sniff screen, because
I could just like get a straw and drink that right now. Smell it different.
And the second benefit of this is that there's no pan to clean. You know, it's just clean.
Yeah. I'm guessing there's got to be some pan cleaning.
Oh, okay. Wipe it off with a dirty sock, put it back in the cabinet.
Right. So that's deglazing deglaze the pan. You put that in. It's in.
That's pretty impressive.
Is that bad? Is that bad answer? What?
Smells really good.
Pork sandwich.
I thought it would have been a piece of trail mix. Exiting from the body cavity. Some sort of.
Okay, so one of the other things that we're going to do is we're going to re-veg. Re-veg. Because, you know, I like to cook down the, do the initial roast it pretty hard, so we, you know, it reduces the amount of, you know, volume essentially your vegetables and stuff because they shrink up so much. So we're just gonna, you know, it's gonna be cooking long enough. This will all end up being more flavor, give it more body also. So we're gonna re-veg.
Would you say you're developing layers of flavor?
Yeah. I've never even thought about it that way, but probably yeah. Big chunks again.
They say that's the cooking shows.
Yeah. Oh, here. You might want to take that off. Nice.
Sticker.
Yeah.
You're like,
Is that
don't touch the production.
It
It's
take
like a-
don't touch
like
it,
the
but it tastes like a
flavor,
sticker, like a sticker.
But I could put paper and adhesive in, no problemo.
So we have another show tonight, right?
It's true.
Re-show.
There's a lot of.
Yeah, we're gonna read.
I'm holding out for an
We're gonna
almond
re-veg.
bush. I'm
We're
for an
gonna
almond
re-show
bush.
after we leave this. I think you and me get appropriately kept. So William, you know our mission tomorrow?
Who's that?
Just to set the meat out to come up to room temperature before we cook it. Can't forget that tomorrow.
Is that like, do you feel like that's huge?
I do. I think it's very huge. Don't cook a cold steak.
Wow. I don't know that I've ever, I had certainly didn't know that, or, you know. It's not part of my doctrine. But it looks like it should be.
That helps with that collagen tenderizing process when you cook it and like set, you know, what you all at the end, right?
What's that?
So you gotta let it rest too after you take it off.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's just as important. Let it go up to room temperature before you cook it.
Makes sense.
You need like a rabbit, pet rabbit to come in here and keep the crumbs off.
We
the
do need a
floor.
rabbit.
Like a dog. You know.
Okay, so now we're gonna add some more seasoning components, and these are the peppercorns that Will didn't like on my cutting board earlier and threw
I
in,
thought they were trash.
and threw in the trash. I witnessed
thought they
it.
were trash from like earlier.
Well,
All right, so I'm just gonna put 3 in, which is all you need. It could, you know, that could even be too strong in some cases, you know. Bay leaves. Probably more than I should put in. These are really fresh too. They're like still greenish. They're not like totally got no moisture in them. Thyme. I don't know why there's ever a shaker in this. I hate shakers.
Proof shaker cap. Wow. Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Lots of time. You got lots of time. How much time do you got? So it's just like a daily thing that you used to do?
What?
It's just like a daily routine for you that you used to do when you was in the restaurant? Make a
Well,
different one,
yeah,
start
there
one
have
every
the
day.
different ones. Cause like the Commanders, we did this in a 40-gallon kettle.
Yeah, yeah. But it was like daily or every other day or?
Yes. I mean, you were in a different stage. It's like you might have it.
Right.
It was nice having kettles because
You could just let it go.
you could do big volume.
Yeah.
We would have a gigantic Lexan for.
Yeah. Like how much will this one yield for the finished product?
I don't know.
Today?
Not a whole lot because you
Like
reduce it so
a
much.
cup or two?
If we go to a glacé, it'll be less than that.
Yeah.
If we reduce it that far,
Right.
we might not though. It's pretty good. Look how dope it is.
This is just like making A1, same process, right?
And what?
A1 of steak sauce, right?
Oi. Oi, they! You're mashugana!
Gotcha.
You mashugana!
Hey,
Alright,
I hooked you.
I'm gonna put some more. Start off pretty with a lot of volume.
So water, wine, and all the shit. I'm guessing that's gonna have to like cook overnight.
Yeah. And it'll need more water as it goes. You know?
Yeah, keep adding a little bit.
Man, look how dark that is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you're making your stock as you go. instead of adding like a pre-made beef stock or vegetable stock to it. I mean, the one that you made.
And you can't take,
Can you?
well, no, I've never tried it.
Would it speed the process if you had some really good beef stock or vegetable stock to throw it in there? Could you do it quicker?
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. And as I'm thinking about it, I should have planned ahead. It would have been nice to have some
Pre-made stock.
pre-made stock to start it out. That would be great.
That would be like an accelerator.
But like at a restaurant, you don't do that. You know,
Right.
like
I mean, I would
at-
put store-bought stock in there. You know, I'm not saying that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like at like if you're doing it a big scale stock, like at like Commander's in a 40-gallon kettle,
Yeah.
you're not going to fill that up with
No.
some sort of. If you had shit on stand,
But
you know, if you have good flavorful
Yeah.
liquid on hand, if you
Yeah.
had from whatever source, you would start it out with that if you'd had
Yeah,
it.
but for a home use,
Yeah.
you could do that a lot easier if you got some good stock on you.
And you could do it with anything too, you know, like when I mean, after your Thanksgiving turkey, if you don't break the bone, you know, just throw the bones in a pot, and I mean it's like a free like 5 meals, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
because it makes so much, and it's just it's perfect. It's a perfect. All right, so we're gonna bring this up to like just the beginnings of a boil, and then back it back down, and then cook it forever.
In a day. Forever in 1 day.
Basically, reduce it.
Alright. Time to cut this video then.
Oh yeah, are you done? So the video's over, right?
What?
Are you paying attention?
Time to cut the video there, good jeez.
Huh? Okay.
Oh,
Well,
just finished it?
yeah.